Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is CS the Viking Gamer, and today we're going to be building some modular dungeon walls that you can use in your tabletop games. So I was at the Dollar Tree the other day and I found these, a tumbling tower game. It's basically a off-brand Jenga. It's 54 blocks of some decent wood, and they're a pretty decent size. Now, previously I've found these were called jumbling tower blocks. They were essentially just a smaller version, and I've made a few things with the smaller ones, but these I immediately got drawn to because they are exactly 3 inches long, 1 inch wide, and a half an inch thick. Well, roughly a half inch thick. So I got a great idea to take them along with some of the jumbling tower blocks and combine them with a few other materials. We're going to use some of the rectangular barbecue skewers that I love to use, a few craft sticks, and then some foam board. Most of this you can get at the Dollar Tree except for the barbecue skewers. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, to start this off, I'm just going to take a little bit of wood glue and take 2 of the jumbling tower pieces and glue them standing straight up and centered on the end of the larger blocks. Now I'm just going to tack these on and hold them in place until the glue starts to grab hold and solidify, but then I am going to grab a couple of clamps and just hold these together, and it'll take about 20 to 30 minutes for the glue to fully solidify, and then these pieces will be joined together and not come apart easily at all. So I made a few of these, 5 just to start with. Why 5? Because I only had 10 clamps. So the inside space on these between the jumbling tower blocks is 2 1/4 inches, and the jumbling tower is just under 2 inches tall. So that gives us a decent amount of space to work with. The overall height for this is going to be 2.5 inches, which I really like in a dungeon wall because it gives enough room to be able to put models around it, but not so tall that players can't see anything over the walls. So we're going to need to cut out a section of this foam board to kind of be the brick layer inside of the wall. So I'm just going to cut out a strip of the foam board using the inside measurements of our modular wall. A couple quick passes with a utility knife and we have a nice clean edge. And then, because I'm terrible at remembering measurements, I do a quick remeasure of the bricks and mark out and cut a few small squares. Now, in the previous modular walls that I've made, I've used a couple of different things, like some silicone putty. I think I also did just a manual build of like a plaster wall, but these are going to be a lot faster. So what I'm going to end up doing is batching out a number of these walls, just so that I can quickly fill out a full set. And as you can see, this slides into place in between everything with only a little bit of friction. Now, to take our inner core here, we're going to add in a few brick lines. So I'm just going to measure out a 1/4 inch spacing and just scribe in a line with a pencil. Alright, now I'm going to very quickly draw out a rough brick pattern. Now the sizing on this doesn't have to be exact. The only exact part that you're going to need is the measurements for the size of the foam board. The spacing of the bricks is completely up to you. Now I'm just going to exaggerate all of the lines in between the bricks to kind of give a better bit of texture. And off camera I took a slightly longer pencil and did some angled tracing just to kind of make a little bit more exaggerated brick marks. Now we need to add in a couple of little extra details. You could just kind of glue everything in place as is and call it acceptable, but I want a little bit more detail, a little bit more embellishments for our wall section. So what I'm going to do is just glue in a couple of little pieces of barbecue skewer, and these are just going to act as a little bit of a separation from the larger pieces and the foam board. Then taking the brick patterned foam board, I'm going to attach a few extra pieces just to kind of give the appearance that there's some wood support beams holding all the walls together. Now I used wood glue to attach things previously. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue just for expediency. Everything fits pretty nice and snug. So having put the wood on both sides of the foam board, I'm now going to take a little bit more hot glue and tack everything in place just by gluing it across the bottom. Then using a toothpick and a plastic cutting tool, I remove any of the glue that kind of blobbed out. Now at the beginning I said I was going to use a craft stick. I ended up going with a wider craft stick. These are more commonly known as tongue depressors. Just the only reason I did that is because it was a little bit wider, and that kind of was almost perfectly the right size to match up to the smaller jumbling tower bricks. So that just kind of makes it appear as though the whole thing's a little bit more flush together, and I only had to do a little bit of extra trimming. Now, while all of that is drying and setting, I'm going to put together a quick little wall pillar. Now, taking 4 of these bricks, I'm just going to glue 2 of them together in this quick little angle, and then do another 2 in the same angle. And once those dry, I'm going to glue them together to make a little square. Now I'm going to set these 2 off to the side to dry, but I did make a couple ahead of time so I can kind of show you what they look like. Now taking a 1 inch by 1 inch piece of foam, I'm going to use that as a cap. And this little ball on a little claw here is the end of a pen that I found at the Dollar Tree. I bought them a couple of years ago and had no idea what I was going to do with them. I just thought they looked cool. And when I started putting this project together, I thought, you know what, this would be a really neat thing to have kind of on the top of a pillar, just to add a little bit more detail. So after hot gluing the pen topper into place, we can now attach our little foam section to the top of the pillar. And then to add a little bit of extra detail, I'm going to take a reasonably sharp X-Acto blade. I need to change the blade out on this one. But I cut it at a roughly 45 angle just along the 4 long edges, leaving a kind of flat section on top and a few angled cuts just for a little bit of extra detail. Okay, now that everything is built, let's go ahead and get painting. So I sealed all the foam with a 50-50 mix of black paint and Mod Podge, and once that was dried I took everything outside and gave it a quick base coating with a little bit of flat brown Krylon spray paint. And once all that was dried, I grabbed some Artist Loft Gray and did a quick coating on all of the extreme outside sections. Now, I don't really want this on any of the sections that I wanted to be wood trim. So the idea is to kind of give the impression that this is a brick wall that has been inlaid into a couple of stone pillars and framed with wood. So to help achieve that, I'm going to be painting a couple of different sections in different ways just to kind of create the illusion of a stone wall and stone pillar. Now, one layer of paint wasn't quite enough to hide all of the wood grain lines, so off camera I did a second coat once this one had fully dried. Now that everything is fully painted up and coated, I grabbed a broken off piece of sponge and dipped it into a little bit of paint, kind of tapped off a little bit of the excess, and we're going to use this to create a kind of a marbled pattern. Now I'm using some neutral gray for this. You can kind of use anything you like. You can go a darker gray, you can go a lighter gray, but the idea here is to create a kind of randomized pattern to give the impression of marble. Now, if you wanted a little bit more in-depth pattern for this, you could start with like a almost black gray, very, very dark gray, and stipple that on first, and then switch to a lighter gray like this one, the neutral gray, and that'll just kind of give you a more in-depth pattern, more of the impression of a deeper, rich marble, or maybe even a granite. Now, once all the exterior pieces were done, I tried to use the same brush sponge to apply the neutral gray to the bricks, but that didn't quite work out as well as I wanted. So instead I grabbed a regular brush and just did a simple dry brushing of the neutral gray onto the bricks. Now I used a little bit of Artist Loft Silver, and this is just going to go a single coating over the pen topper on top of the pillar. This is just going to give a nice shiny undercoating for the next couple of paints that we're going to use on this. Once the silver had a chance to dry, I used some metallic bronze and did a quick coating over all of the claw section. Now, this didn't quite apply the way I wanted it to. You could still see a whole lot of brush lines no matter how many times I tried to paint over it. And you still saw a lot of the silver showing through, and that wasn't quite the color effect that I wanted. So I let it fully dry and then did a second coat which had more of the effect that I was aiming for. So if you run into this kind of situation, let the paint dry and then try applying a second coating and see if that's how you'd like it. Next, I used a little bit of copper, also from Artist Loft, and applied a thin coating over all of the ball on top of the pillar. Now, I wasn't quite sure what to do with this when I applied the copper. I might end up changing this later on, maybe do some kind of like a gemstone color, but this will be a decent placeholder for the time being, and I can always paint over it at a later date if I need to. Now that the pillar is done, we can go back to our wall section and paint up all of our wooden supports. Now off camera, I reapplied a layer of raw umber, and that just kind of gave our baseline wood coloration, and now I'm doing a simple little overbrushing of some raw sienna. And once that was dried, I added a weathering effect with a little bit of warm gray from Master's Touch, just to make everything look a little bit more aged and worn. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'll paint the rest of them off camera, but for now, the dungeon walls are finished. So I made up a quick little set of 6 of the walls and 4 of the pillars. This did not take all that long. This was about a day's worth of crafting to put all these together. And I kind of like how they turned out. I think I might end up having to make some more pillars. I'm definitely going to go back to the Dollar Tree and see if I can find more of these like unique looking pens. I know they have had some in the past with like a giant gemstone at the top of them. I'll probably see if I can find a few of those to kind of mix up the pillars, maybe integrate them into a game or something like that for D&D. Like there's this pillar with a gemstone at the top and it changes color when you do certain things in a room. You know, I can figure out a few things to do with them. But I am liking how everything is kind of lining up, how I can kind of shift the walls around, and the fact that everything is 3 inches long and the pillars are 1 inch by 1 inch in their size really means that I don't lose anything when I lay out a grid, and these can fit perfectly with a 1-inch battle mat. Alright, so now that we've got our dungeon walls made, I'm going to have to think of something else to put with them. Since they're a 3-inch long section, what I might end up doing next is making some custom little grid pieces to go with them. Since they're raised up a little bit, I have a little bit of space to work with at the base. So using some 1/4 inch foam board, I might be able to make some 3-inch by 3-inch dungeon tiles just to kind of fit everything together. Yeah, that might work. That might work pretty good. Yeah, next week I will be making some custom dungeon tiles to go with these dungeon walls, so be sure and come back next week to take a look at that. So thank you everyone for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe for future content, comment down in the comments section, and I will see everyone next time.